So I know that when it comes to Drag Race, we are pretty aware of edits. I feel like at this point, Drag Race is so known for its edits that it always like kind of frustrates us, or it's almost like now we try to see, okay, what edit are they going to give us now, because we expect it, which is, sometimes unfortunate. Sometimes it makes for good TV, sometimes it makes for controversial TV. But I want to talk about the kind of the first of edits. Now I've listed six, but there probably is more. But these are just six very common ones that I feel like nowadays we just see all the time. We may not see it every season, like all six of these, but there's a good mix of them now. And I just want to talk about, when was the first time we truly saw this edit? And my thing with looking at this is seeing the impact that edit had. Because I feel like in some ways there's a little bits of these edits in like every season, but there are some queens who, when they became this edit, it just like really changed the game in a way. It changed the way that queens behaved. It changed the way that production went about things, the judges went about things. So it's kind of where I'm looking at. So the first one, probably the most infamous one, is the villain edit. And hands down, Fifi O'Hara from season 4 is that first villain edit. I mean, it was hard to watch. It really was. Now, this is an instance of where seasons 1, 2, and 3 had slithers of these villain edits in certain queens. I think some might consider Rebecca a villain because of how much she got under Queen's skin. Or season 2, like Raven or Tyra, or even Tatiana. Or season 3, like all the Heathers. But they didn't change it. It was just kind of like, it wasn't one like a focus. Like, I'm also looking at just a clear focus villainous edit for all of these categories. And to me, Fifi is the ultimate one. And it doesn't help that she definitely brought that same energy into All Stars 2 and, cemented that as her thing. She can be very villainous. And we clearly felt the impact of that because we got another villain edit in Roxy in season 5. And now we just kind of look at who's going to get that villainous edit. So I feel like, Fifi gets that. She's like the first true villain edit. The next edit has been one that is very more recent, and that is the delusional edit. This is the queen who thinks she is just killing it, who thinks she is just all that in a bag of chips, and everyone else is like just staring at her like, no, or what are you talking about? Or you weren't that good. And then they get very like fussy when they don't get their wins, and it's like, but you didn't deserve that win. And the queen that cemented that delusional edit is Milk from All Stars 3. When she had her meltdown from the Diva Live musical, which she, to me, should have been in the bottom for because she tripped and kind of was messing up a little bit, whatever. She was so upset. She was. And she thought that she was doing so much better than what she was presenting. And it's interesting because we've had that before, We've had that before. Aja, who was on that season with Milk, but in her season 9, which was before All Stars 3, she had that same delusion as far as she thought her makeup was on point. Another one could be like Laganja from not All Stars, from season 6. How she, more so compared to Adore, she really thought, well, she knew in the real world, she said, I'm the star. I'm the one who gets all the praise, not Adore. So I don't get it. Why is Adore getting all the love and I am not? You know, she thought she was doing much better than what she was. And I feel like the biggest example of that was when they did the hip hop rapping group, and she just thought she was going to kill it because this is what she does. And she just did, okay. Another delusional edit from before Milk was, like, you could say Chanel from season 1, but there were times that Chanel should have gotten more praise and should have gotten a win, like the makeover, but you couldn't tell Chanel she wasn't the ish the entire time. But from all those examples, the Milk is like the stamp of that, and you call it the Milk edit, the delusional edit. You think of Milk. Okay, so favored. The favored edit. This one is a little bit like, where can we pinpoint this? Where can we pinpoint the favored? Now, favored to me is more so a queen that is saved a lot. They're not necessarily given wins a ton, but they're given praises. They're given saves from maybe being in the bottom 2 or just even overall being in the bottom like they should be. And they get pushed a lot. Not so much to win, but just to be on TV because I guess in some ways they're giving good TV. And in some ways, I feel like I'm trying to decide between Fame or Adore. I'm going to go with Adore because there was a lot of times where Adore should have been the bottom, or when I say bottom, I mean like bottom 2. And she should have been more criticized for doing things because she got away with a lot. I would say the first half, she was getting away with just her like kind of charm and not fully following the challenge requirements and just kind of doing her own little thing. But she got praise, She just started getting like really criticized. When I say criticized, I mean like starting to like really like, okay, we can't keep not putting you in the bottom 2 because there's nobody else that did worse. We just have to. But it should have been sooner. So I would say Adore. Now, the favorite one, I don't really see as it being so blatant as like, All Stars 8, where we are right now, the favoritism for Jimbo is real. But back then, we didn't really see it. But I would say that Adore was like the first like truly favored queen. That just made that favorite edit. There's not a big deal over the favorite edit, maybe as it is now, but it's there. The reason why I said Fame was because Fame was put in the bottom so many times, but was not put in the bottom 2. She probably has the most bottom 3 placement to not be put in the bottom 2 in a row. Goodness. All right. The next edit is the winner edit. Now, this is different from favored because winner edit I see as this queen, it's like they want this person to win so bad. They just praise them so much. They give them a lot of wins. They push them to the finish line. The favorite queen, they're just pushing them to keep them on TV. Like, I don't really think the judges were looking at, say, Adore, for example, as being a winner, but they saw her as someone that would be great on TV. But would she win? We'll see how the fans feel, but we're not looking at her like that. Whereas the winner is more so seen as someone who's going to be like, we want this person to win. I think just straight off, they're going to be a good representation. And so it's like when you look back, you see this huge, like, you just see them in like a really good light. And I think the first instance of like a winner edit to me was Sharon from season 4. Because I feel like she was first of all, she was the first queen to win 4 challenges. And that still is quite rare. There's only a handful of queens that have won 4 challenges and still won the overall season. So she was given 4 wins. One of them I don't agree with, which was the RuPaul like infomercial one. I think Kenya should have won that one, but there was that. Her runways weren't always like super polished, but they still let her go through, pushed her through. And I feel like, so yeah, I think to me it became really clear that she was going to win. Now I know that Chad was another one that Rue was trying to decide, but I just saw Chad as someone just simply doing good. Hey, glad you're here, Sharon. Let's keep going. Like they just showed her so much. And this brings me to the next one, which is the rivalry slash feud edit. A lot of times we see one queen and another queen, or if not one queen and maybe 2 or 3 queens who they just fuss with each other the whole season. You know, it's not really them and the rest of the cast. It's more so just them and this one person. Like for example, well, an example that is not what I'm talking about is Rebecca. Rebecca didn't have a specific rivalry. Everyone just didn't really like her, but she didn't have a really problem with the cast. The cast had a problem with her. So, and then the same thing with the Heathers and the Boogers, season 3, that was more so just a big group of people just arguing. But like a direct feud, like you could pick a side. And I mentioned these 2 queens before, but it is Fifi versus Sharon, the hero versus the villain. I mean, season 4 was that season. They gave us a lot of great first. So to me, season 4 with Sharon and Fifi, first rivalry edit. And then we got it again a bit in season 5 between Jinx and Roxy. And I know that Jinx also kind of had an issue with Detox a bit, but it was clearly Roxy that just would not leave her alone. Season 6, we saw that again with Adore and Laganja. Season 7 was another like Heathers versus Boogers type idea with the old lady brigade and the younger fashion queens. Season 8, we saw bits of feuds between Bob and Derek, or Derek and Naomi. Season 9, Aja versus Valentina. You see how just like we get that so much, but it truly started, at least put a stamp on it, with what's their names, Sharon and Fifi. All right, the next edit, and I feel like at this point, like right now, this is probably the most popular edit that people love to talk about and dissect, and that is the safe edit. These are the queens that are always safe when they should win. So unlike maybe favored queens who maybe should have been in the bottom or bottom 2, these are the queens who should have maybe won or at least been in the top. And they weren't. And let's be honest, when you think of safe, you think of Jan. And now we get that every year where there's a queen who is safe and it seems to push them. It seems to make their eye twitch. So, yeah, Jan. Before then, maybe Chanel a bit from season 1. Maybe Yara a bit in season 3. I'm trying to think of other that had some seasons where it was like that. But yeah, Jan season 12. All right, and I came with one more. When I said favorite, I also thought of the unfavored. So who was like the first unfavored queen? And I would say it was Chanel. Chanel again just could never seem to do it right, could never seem to win, could never seem to just be what the judges wanted at least a little bit. So I would say it started with her. But this is another edit where you just, the favored and unfavored edits don't really get as much attention. But as someone who's been watching Drag Race for over 10 years now, I just really noticed it. But I would say that the first unfavored queen was Chanel. So those were all of the first edits that I could think of, that we see a lot. And I might even do a video where I try to see which queens had these edits in each season, because I feel like there's at least a few seasons that have all of these. All right,